will enhance the assignment a little. Okay, so here let's talk about another field. So we had an object called application, right? Yeah. So this applications has a master detail stuff and so on. And last day, what we did is that on account we went to and we did a roll up of on account, right? We went out and on application object, I think we did some kind of roll up. Or because it's a master, right? Roll up sum of application. So sum of application. So what we let's see what is it is summing up. It's a application fee it is summing up. Okay. So what if I want to see what is the contribution of that application uh, from the total application fee that has been collected? Yeah. So what means that means is the total application fee for that account minus the application fee of that record, right? So that would give us the total application which is done by other application records, right? So if we go back to application here, I want to do a auto calculation, and this time I'm using a thing called formula, and we say other fees or fee deviance. Name it this one. I want to like subtract the total fee collected for that account minus the fee which is there on that record. So what can we, of course, we are working on currency fields. So we'll keep the currency return type. And here, what I'm trying to do first is I'm trying to go to insert field. And from insert field, I will go to account and I will take that roll up first. Here you see, I can go and use, I am on the application object, but I can go to my parent and use any field of my parent object. Parent, any fields of the parent object. Okay. So what is the roll up? Name is R. Here is my roll up. Let me have my insert it. When I insert it, you can hand type it also. So no problem. So understand this account, and then there is a underscore underscore R. Underscore R dot is specifying that I am going into the account record, and under that there is a relationship. Underscore R, then dot, and then basically actual field name. And then I can use a negative subtract operator. There is minus sign. You can also hand type it, and then I will insert a field of my own object, which is the fee. If you see, it is a custom object. That's why it is underscore under C. And roll up was also custom object. That's why it was underscore under C. So from my account underscore R dot, I have taken the roll up minus the fee, and then I move next. Now let's go to the account and see these applications. Here you see the total account roll up is 300 bucks, right? That means all fields, all application put together. And what is the contribution of this fee? Is 200. So 300 minus 200 is 100. It's automatically calculating for us. And you see, there is no edit. You cannot edit this field. This field is calculated upon save. Okay. So think about if there is another application I create. Let's go to account. It will be easier. application details test 5. So here now let's see what is the total fee. Total fee, I did not change that also. This 1000. Yeah. So now you see what is happening. So when I save this, I go here and I see now the roll up is 1300, and this fee is now deviating. Is 1000 is the fee, and fee deviance has recalculated. So every time you save it, automatically your roll up is getting recalculated, and that this formula field is also getting calculated. Now this formula field can work between two fields of the same object on which you are creating this field, or you can also use the fields of your parent object. So when you use the field of the parent object, we call it a cross object formula. But if you're only using the fields of your current object, then we'll call this normal formula field. Formula field is calculated whenever the save button is clicked, and based on whatever calculation logic you want to put into formula field, it works quite similar to any formula field of Excel sheet, right? In Excel sheet, we do all kinds of formulas, right? Sum, min, max, everything. So it's exactly the same, no difference. So you can create automatic calculating fields in Salesforce, and we call this formula fields. So let's go back to our assignment. Let's take some more work now. So let's talk about this. So we have talked about actor count. We'll do this using the roll up. Total actor salary will now using roll up. Let's talk about this one. So I want you to create a technical budget field which will like give a deviance between the production budget and total actor salary. How will you create this one?
Yeah, it will be a formula field.
Easy formula field, right? It
Yeah.
will be this minus this one.
Total salary.
Yeah. And then I want you to create another field called marketing budget, which is 10% of your production budget.
Yeah.
Okay. Quite easy.
Yeah.
So this table, you are like in FAME table, you are already done. You will create two roll-ups and two formula fields to finish it up. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Cool. Now let's look at actor. Can we take something here? So this is the roll-up summary. Total actor, total salary. Okay, this we will discuss later. Salary later. Okay, let's talk about something called a validation rule. So we'll finish a validation rule today. What is a validation rule? Validation rule is a mechanism Salesforce gives us through which you can make sure that user are restricted to enter the values what you require them to enter. So if you go to this object manager, straight down below here we have the validation rules, absolute last. So what we want to do in this validation rule is that for our object, I want to make sure that fee value cannot be less than 100 and should not be more than 500. That is my validation rule. So anybody who is entering 1, 2, 3, 4 should be blocked, right? Every business has its own logic, and they say that I don't want a fee value of less than 100. Yeah, let's so no block fees less than 100 and more than 500. Less than more than, yeah, good one. So which field are we talking here? We are talking about a fee field. So this, if it is less than 100, I want to block. And the same thing, if the fee is greater than 500, I want to block. There are two conditions here, 1 and 2. If I had only one condition, this is good enough. I save it and that's fine. I can show the error message on the top. I can show the error message on the beside the field itself. So I will put this beside the field. That makes more sense, right? So fees cannot be bit less than 100 and greater than 500. So I have two conditions, right? How will these two be joined? How to make sure? So if both, this is a blocker, right? Blocker means I want to block the conditions which is given here. Inside any conditions you write, that should be blocked. So this has to be true in order to get blocked. If you want to bypass anything else, then you should not write validation rule anything. Okay. For blocking anything, only validation rule, not bypassing it. So you can get requirement in both forms. Sometimes people will say what to pass and sometimes people will say what to block. If you get a condition which what to block, then straight away use that conditions here. But if the people tell you what to block, sorry, what to pass, in that case you have to find out what is the condition to block them. Anything which is not there, you have to use it. So there is a not variable also, and we can discuss this also. Let's see. First, let's see that what I want to have this condition. Like, so these are two conditions which I want to block. If both or all the conditions or either of the conditions, whatever conditions, any of the condition, any of the conditions is fulfilled, I want to block it. Then I have to use an or operator, okay, which is this or double pipe. That means if this is true, I want to block it. If this is true, I want to block it. If both are true, will never happen, right? A fee value will be a single value, right? So either it will go into this condition or it will go into this condition. So let's save it. And if the situation is both the conditions needs to be satisfied, then you have to use and condition, and we'll see this. So now I have put a blocker, and let's see how this works. Validation rule will only work for the new records that is getting created, not for the existing records, okay? Now let's see, can I put a 5? No. It is showing me fees cannot be less than 100 and greater than 500. Can I put 600? No. Can I put 100 or 500? What do you think?
100 means two values.
We cannot put 100 and 500 because
It will save, sir.
it is given that it should be greater than and it should be less than. So anything more than 100 and anything less than 500.
Yeah, so 100, can I save or not?
No.
sir. Yes, sir. It's
It
saved, sir.
saves. Can I say 500 now? Validation will fire both for creation of record and saving of record. 500 also saves. Can I say 501? No. Can I say 99? No. What happened? Less than 100 and greater than 500. That means 100 does not have a blocker. If I want to also block 100 and 500, then I have to
Equals.
use a greater than or equal to. So here there is another field called less than or equal, and this is greater than or equal. If I use less than or equal, then this value is also blocked. If it's greater than or equal to 500, then this value is also blocked. Okay, please be very careful when you write this formula. So if I now reload this, try to now create a new app account. Now here 99,800 is blocked, and then the message should be fees cannot be less than or equal to 100 and greater than or equal to 500. Okay, so we have to change the message also. The message is not correct anyway. So we have seen how we can block different conditions, and we can put or between them, then any of these conditions we can block. But what if we have been given a bypass conditions, like what to bypass? Then how do I derive the blocker conditions? Like I have been given anything less than 100 allow, anything over 500 allow. So 100 to 500 should not be allowed if that is the condition.
So we
What
can put like allow 0 to 100 and then again allow greater than 500.
no, what would be the blocker? What is your blocker condition?
Uh, that from 100 to 500 it is blocked. So
100 to 500. Now, how will you write a validation rule? When you have said that I have given you blocker, I have given you a pass by condition. I have said allow 100 to 500 records. Don't allow anything less, or don't allow anything more. Then you are clear. You have blocked two conditions. Just we did right. Whatever. This is right. But
yes,
now
yes.
I am telling you allow some things below 100 to 500 and allow 500 and above, but don't allow anything between 100 to 500.
So, sir, if the data cannot be negative, then we can say that allow from 0 to 100 and then again allow from
How will
500
you
and
write the condition? Give me the condition. What would be your condition
uh,
here? So this time let's do a validation rule. Block 100 to 500. Simple. These cannot be between 100 to 500. Okay. So how will you write a validation rule for this one? I have asked you to block 100 to 500.
amount less than 100 or
Amount,
greater than 500,
amount.
less
What
than
will be the
100,
condition of the validation rule?
and
less than
and
100. Less than 100 and
Less than 100.
um, no, 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 no,
no, greater
no,
than
sir.
Sir, greater than
or
100.
equal 100, greater than or equal 100,
Okay.
and
And
uh,
or
Or-
or
or
or না সে এখানে
And sir, and.
and হবে
and
দুটো আর হচ্ছে fees
And
less than or equal 500,
less than কেন হবে স্যার greater than 500 হবে তো।
এটা হবে স্যার
টেস্ট করা যাক। 200 দিলাম। 200 is greater than equal to 100 and 200 is less than equal to 500.
Yes, sir.
Both the conditions are satisfied, and the blocker will fire. So I put a working, right? What about 100? 100 block করবে কি করবে না?
ব্লক করবো স্যার।
করছে। 400 block, 500 block, 600 allowed. Cool. So now we understand how to write a AND condition or OR condition. Good work, good work. A better way of writing this is not to use, because there can be 7, 8 conditions in some requirements. So it's easier for you to write this using the functions. So do a comma between these conditions, and just before this condition put a AND block. OR also has a block, conditions inside conditions, or you can this for this AND block. So put every condition inside. This works the same. It is easier to figure out. The AND এর মধ্যে যে conditions গুলো লিখলাম, then you don't have to put this operator again and again. Clear? Validation rules can also be used for blocking or do a null check on standard objects. Okay, like if I go to account and I have something like this facts field, I cannot make this field mandatory, right? The only options I have is that go to the page layout, make it a field mandatory. What I can do here, I can go to a page layout and maybe annual revenue, I can make this mandatory required. This is the way it will work. But I have to make this mandatory for every layout. If there are different people who are using different layouts and this is not made mandatory for all page layouts, then it will not ask for this value. Neither it will ask for this value in data loading. So if I want a standard field value to be required everywhere, not only page layouts but also in data layout, data upload, I need to use validation rules to make sure that I can do that. So I will check that annual revenue is needed, right? What is the field? Annual revenue. What you can do is that equal to here, there is a field called is blank, and inside it, if you put a annual revenue, and that's it. So you will write a blocker validation rule that annual revenue is blank. Then you say, please provide annual. Let's give this message just after the annual revenue. Let's test it now. I now give a new account, test account 6,000. Now it is asking for the annual revenue. It's a standard field, but I have made it mandatory now. It is now allowing. So let's quickly see in an Excel sheet what are different mechanisms of creating mandatory fields. So what we see is that This is standard objects. Sorry, standard fields and custom fields. What are the different ways of making a field mandatory? First is field type. You can make a field type required. Second is you can make it mandatory in the page layout. You can also make it mandatory in validation through validation rule, which we just saw. So standard field does not allow you to create field types, which is making it type. So custom fields only works. Okay. So this is not allowed. No, this is allowed. Page layout is allowed for both the cases. You can make page layout mandatory, and validation is allowed for both the cases. So when to use what? If you need a custom field, which should be mandatory across everything, mandatory across all page layout, mandatory across page data loading, then use this one. And mandatory for all users. Okay. For standard field, if you need to be making a global mandatory field everywhere, even for data loading, even for all users, then use this one. If it is conditional, that for some users only it is mandatory, for page layout only, then use page layouts. Otherwise, if you have a validation rule which makes it mandatory for few situations, then you can use these options. So either of these three should be utilized. Page layout based validation rule should be rarely used because that is not a correct way of making a field mandatory, because it will only make it mandatory in some screens for some users, and it is not enforceable in Workbench or data input wizard. It is not mandatory when you do a data loading. Clear?
Yeah, yes.
Good stuff. So we'll go back to our assignment. Here, I want you to create a validation rule on the salary field of the actor which you have created on the mapping object, and make sure that the validation rule makes sure that the amount that needs to be entered should be between 10 crore to 50 crore. So any amount, any salary must be between the range of 10 crore to 50 crore. Not less than that, not greater than that. Clear?
Yeah.
So this is the validation rule.
So that is on the salary field, right? In the actor.
That is on the salary field, which you already have in the mapping object, right? Salary field, okay, not the standard salary field. We'll come to standard salary field later. So the green E1 is left. We'll discuss this later. Till that point, we are talking about a validation rule, which we will enforce on the salary field of the mapping object, which we are creating, right? Okay. Next week, we are not having a class. So you have plenty of time to revise all the classes, including this one. And if you're feeling any problem, talk to Angshita or write on the WhatsApp or talk to your friends and colleagues on this batch. Make friends, please. Nothing stopping you